very short episode of a podcast. This podcast is hosted by me, Sophia, and it's about feminism, spirituality, and business, and how all of these things may or may not be interconnected for you, maybe. And this episode belongs to the previous episode that's recorded in German, but that doesn't matter. And it was about violence and peace, the episode before. And now I have a guest on the show, an expert in the field of nonviolent communication, someone who is practicing nonviolent communication since many years. And welcome, Mantega.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for calling me an expert. That was really nice and unexpected.
So, what is nonviolent communication?
Yeah, good question. I guess for me, nonviolence communication is when you communicate how you're feeling more than what you're thinking to the other person, so the other person can understand your feeling. And if the other person cares about you and how you feel, then you guys can find a common ground to solve a conflict.
So, I think what's nice about it is that it's because we communicate anyways all the time. We talk to other people every day, or communicate, not just talking. But we communicate all the time anyways, so why not doing it in a non-violent way? Because then I think it's the little things that can create something very big and beautiful. And as I said earlier off record, that how can we have less violence in the world? How can we have more peace? Peace is such a nice and big word, but what does it really mean? What can it really mean? And I think nonviolent communication is one answer. And everyone can use it every day of their life. And so how can we use it? How do I do it?
Well, I guess it's like most things in life, it's about practicing it. It's about, there are some formulas that you can use to communicate in a non-violent way, and of course to be able to actually put in practice, you have to be aware. So I think the first step always is to be aware, to think about how you communicate with the people you met through the day, and see where you could have done something better, let's say, or where you could have communicated in a way that actually express more about how you're feeling or what is your position, and less about judging the other person or even judging yourself. So it's about practice.
So the first step is, in general it's about practice, and the first step is awareness.
Yeah, awareness.
And you would suggest that if someone listens now and would like to start, is that maybe sit down and take 5 or 10 minutes time, or just make the intention and some time and space to think about how you talked, how you communicated to other people today.
Yeah, maybe learn some formulas. Probably there's a lot of things online.
Because that's what I saw when I googled it. Or honestly, until now I thought that's what nonviolent communication is, just applying this one formula. This one
which one,
it's you describe the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you bought the potato today.
Yeah.
And then you describe your feeling.
Perfect.
I got sick in my tummy. Then you, I don't know, describe why or something. So when you bought the potato today, I got sick in my tummy, and I noticed I need a carrot. So I would like to ask you to buy a carrot tomorrow.
Yeah, something like this. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. When this happened, when you do this, I feel like that because this or
Yeah.
that.
And then communicating what you need, asking for what you need rather than what you don't need. Because what happened was what you don't need, kind of, but you should not me on this for so long, but rather focus on what is it that you can ask for. What is it that can make you feel better? What is it that you need?
Yeah. Really right. Yeah. It's about, even using this formula, it takes practice until you understand, because you can always say, when you bought this potato, I felt horrible because you shouldn't have done this, blah blah. So it takes practice. That's the thing, like to take out the judgment, to take out the useless information, let's say, or to be too much in the past, or to try to be a victim, or try to blame the other person, or all of this. Yeah, it takes practice, and but it's important to, the first step is to be aware, and then also try to use this formula. I think the first time you use it is really magical, because it's like, oh my god, I got something that I can use, can really help me in a daily basis, because as you were saying about peace, it's about being in peace with the people we interact every day in a daily basis. That's what is peace.
And in the end, it's also getting what you want. It's much more likely that you get the carrot when you ask it this way. No?
Yeah, true.
When you say applying the formula, I also think it's a good way to start. It's also how, I'm not applying this formula regularly, to be honest. When we talk during the day, I don't know, probably I don't communicate non-violently very often. I don't know. But this formula, sometimes I use it very mindfully, and I just want to say that in the beginning it feels weird. It feels very weird. But I remember I had when I have difficult situations with people who talk about, when I sometimes, I know it's going to be a difficult situation, so I sit down first and write down the points that I would like to say. Then I also try to apply this formula and kind of practice before. And there it has worked very well, even though it felt very weird. It felt so weird that I even thought, oh my god, this other person will notice, and he or her will tell me, are you crazy? Don't talk like a robot. Talk like a normal person. But I think it's really worth it to try a bit. Yeah.
We might be so used to use different kind of communication that looking like, when you look at a non-violent script, let's say, like this, when you write it down, it can feel so weird and so robotic, because actually it's something that looks so different from the way most of the people interact in the world. And it is a little bit sad to see that, if you think about it, that what should be the normal, it's actually something that looks very out of normal. And if you, like, I was noticing recently how also through television and media and movies, it's also like emphasize how cool it is to talk in a way to other people, so like in a completely violent way, or and that stands out as cool, and how nice it is to just say nasty words back and forth, and then you show that you have confidence on the other person, and that the other person deeply, they know that they are your friends, and then you can use whatever language you want with them just because they already know that you love them. And it's like it's always whatever you, if you repeat a lie too many times, even if it's a lie, it can become true. So like the way you talk to your friends and the people surrounding you, you should, I try to take care that it it yeah like they will hear what I actually mean to tell them. And yeah that we don't have to have such a big love to each other that I can, or whatever. I don't think talking shit to my friends, or like trying to have a very cool way of blah blah blah, or at least I'm working on it. To say the truth is, it's not 100% of all my friends, but most of my relationships I try to keep a, it's what we call a high standard of talking, that you can actually uplift the person.
Can I ask you something about our relationship? So, when we met, when we got to know each other, and we started communicating more, how? What did you think about my communication style?
Yeah, it's hard to remember now. It's been a while, but how can I remember now? If I, I think if I would have disliked it, I would have probably tell you, or done something.
You did.
Did I?
Because I remember very well that you kind of really educated me, and it was very annoying. I don't know if sometimes I also tell you that because with you I noticed, because you made me aware of it, how often I told you what I don't want.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's the one thing that, like, you told me that so often. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. And it's hard. It was so hard, and I think I have internalized it a bit. So thank you. You really taught me this. Yeah. It was very annoying, but I internalized it. I think now automatically I find myself sometimes saying what I want without even making it an effort, having
it's
it
practice,
as an effort.
Eh?
Yeah,
it's practice.
It got automatic. But it was very annoying in the beginning sometimes, especially when I'm a bit furious and now I just need to get something out, and then you're like, me, tell me what you want. So I think it was not too long ago I sometimes also say, and I don't care that I say don't now, and then I say no now.
Yeah. And again, like for those things to practice, it's easier always by writing, because then you have like a total control on the speed of the chat, let's say. So I'm very good at writing answers to jobs that I cannot do, but instead of saying I cannot do, I say, wow, it would be amazing to be there the other year, or something like this, just to avoid this word that is so negative, which is basically no.
So that's also a part of nonviolent communication, or one game you can play in the field of nonviolent communication, to remove the word no or don't, and then try to say it what you actually want and not what you are trying to avoid. Or
yes, the first time that I see that, like thinking about that, I try to keep that more as a mindset, so I know what I want, and so I can keep positive, and keeping positive is always opening more doors than saying no. I think like no close a lot of doors, and sometimes it's important also to know how to say no, but by saying yes you keep more doors open. So it's a fine balance, but if you're talking about what you want, then it's very important to say what you want, because what you don't want is probably a lot longer the list. So and especially in relationships, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want the other. Okay, so let's resume in just what you want, and then we can move forward a bit faster. But yeah, it's slowly.
Would you like to share a bit how you started with the nonviolent communication?
Yeah, it was back in Brazil. Yeah, I got to know through my mom. She was working as a translator for a non-violence group, and there was this method that they developed in the prison system in the U.S. called AVP, Alternative to Violence Project, and then they brought it to Brazil. So through my mom, she translated this material, and then they started to do the first groups of AVP, the Alternatives to Violence Project. And then I was really young. I was, I think, maybe 13, maybe 14 when I joined, and it was really intense. Like it's kind of a weekend where you go on a weekend out and you stay like in, how you call a retreat. Yeah, you're like in a retreat, and then you meet with this bunch of people that most of them you don't know. Yeah, like most of the groups of the people that I met, I didn't know them, and yeah, and then you learn all this kind of interesting techniques to communicate in a non-violent way, and yeah, and basically it was created inside of a prison system, so it's really intense because in a prison is really where you really need to communicate well, you know, and it was really magical to take part on those events, you know, all the feelings that come out, and to be able to share all the personal histories. And then there were, I think, three. I don't remember how was the level thing, you know, but yeah, because like first you join the first, then you do the second. You can do as many times as you want, no? But I managed to study enough to become a facilitator for it. So I was I was facilitating these workshops in Brazil, and yeah, it was quite nice experience. I really liked doing it. Yeah. Well, it was like many people you hear many times that was the best weekend of their lives. So it's really it's really nice to hear that, and to know you were part of that. So it was really, and sometimes it was also hard to job, you know, when you're on the other side. It's so nice to take and like to be part of the group, but then when you're doing actually, sometimes it was so amazing because you would, yeah, you would hear this from people that you wouldn't expect that they had such a good time, and yeah, and actually it was really 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 good time. Like most of the times could be hard, could be easier, but it was always transforming. It was really really fun to do it.
Nice. So let's see if maybe in the future you will facilitate something. We can let everybody know when it's time.
Yeah, that would be fun for sure. We need more. You need, I think, to be at least 3 people to do this because it's really intense. So you need to be at least 3, I guess. And I'm really rusty. I think it's more than 10 years since I did that. So yeah, I would need people with that are a little bit more experienced on the field and probably read a little bit more again.
So you think we mentioned the most important things, or is there something else that's very important for you to say that we didn't say yet?
Yeah, I think we covered the basics. Like as I said, I would probably need to research a little bit more to get back on the theories and the more like on the, like sometimes, yeah, probably there's 1,000 more things we can talk about it, but I think we touched some nice parts of it.
All right. So thank you for bringing peace to my podcast.
A pleasure.